We all expected this. I even called it out before the game in my live. But somehow, booing Duana Bonner has become such an issue. Get ready for a rant.
On Sophie Cunningham, that is her first team second. Coming in for Phoenix number 14, Duana Bonner.
If it were just fans having an issue with Duana Bonner getting booed, that would be one thing. But an actual Phoenix Mercury player in the post-game interview, Alyssa Thomas, spoke out on the boos against that fan base in a post-game interview.
I think she handled it well. I don't understand, like, she's a legend, and just all the things that she's done for the league, and just the disrespect, I can't get down with it. They booed her. She didn't say a word to the crowd. People talk some trash to her, but we had her back. But it's just very distasteful for what their fan base is doing. As far as when it comes to DB, because it's just like she's just the sweetest soul. And the situation didn't work for her, and that's just not what she wanted or whatever. But it's just, we don't need all of that. It's just unnecessary.
All right, first of all, if you know or follow sports in like the slightest, you don't even have to be a fanatic to understand boos come with the territory. I've never seen a season without boos. Every time I go to a New York Liberty game and the Indiana Fever play, Sophie Cunningham just steps on the court or gets announced or anything, it's met with boos from the crowd. For whatever reason, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's never something that I thought to write about. It's never something that I thought to post to social media. It's not something that I ever thought to make a video about because I know fans. And it doesn't matter whether there's even a real reason for it, because with Sophie Cunningham, I'm assuming that she's being met with these boos because of her potential political beliefs. Alleged political beliefs. But I don't understand how a player in a professional sport can ever think that someone who left a team and left the team in a lurch, like Duana Bonner left the Indiana Fever in a time of adversity when multiple players were injured, they had to sign hardship contracts, and instead of saying, hey, this isn't working out, after 9 games, mind you, did not give it much time, 9 games was it, that's all she played with the Indiana Fever, asking for a trade and not traveling with your team after asking for something to be worked out. And then, not only that, pretty much forcing your way onto the Phoenix Mercury, which is a title contending team and a team with her life partner on it. It just sounds very like I can get what I want when I want, and it doesn't matter what happens. And yes, I can see a fan base being quite upset with this. I mean, LeBron, when he left Cleveland, people were burning his jerseys. People were booing him every time he was back in Cleveland. Joel Embiid, he decided to play for Team USA instead of playing for France, and he was met with boos because he apparently had said that he would like to play for the French national team, then decided to play for USA, and it's pretty obvious. If I lived in France, I might boo Joel Embiid too. So for Duana Bonner to be immune to this type of a reaction from fans, I think is actually and completely and totally delusional. And Duana Bonner actually has not made any comments on this. This was something that was said by Alyssa Thomas, but just that it was said by a professional athlete kind of lends the idea that this is the idea that was possibly talked about in the locker room. Again, I do not want to speak for Duana Bonner, but Alyssa Thomas, her partner, who was the high scorer on the Mercury, did decide not to go to the post-game interview, of which the Mercury were fined for her not doing so. And obviously, she did not want to answer questions about Duana Bonner, which, I don't have a problem with people dating on the same team, but when it does enter the game, that's when it's like, wait, I think we have to, reassess the situation here, because any sort of relationship should not enter the game space. That's just my opinion. And according to the WNBA official site, the media availability rule has been broken by the Phoenix Mercury and was broken last night. No later than 10 minutes following the game, each head coach and 2 players, which is the leading scorer and the key contributor per team, will be available in separate press rooms for an in-person Zoom meeting. Alyssa Thomas and the Mercury likely will be fined because they chose to break the rule. Now, not everyone on the Phoenix Mercury is unaware of this type of situation, and Nate Tibbitz also spoke on it when asked about how DeWanna Bonner was handling the boos from the audience, and here's what he said.
Yeah, I think just in sports, it's kind of what you have to anticipate, right? Yeah, I thought she handled it fine. That's kind of how sports works. You go into a former home of yours, and typically, if you don't leave on your terms, the fans aren't going to be happy. And that's what they did tonight.
He also spoke on the fact that Alyssa Thomas was clapping back to fans in the arena, which, okay, listen, to be honest, I don't have a big issue with Alyssa Thomas like clapping back to people, like saying things to her or DeWanna Bonner or anything. I don't think it's the best look as a professional athlete, but I do understand that this type of thing happens, and it wouldn't be anything that I would like look twice at, or I would look twice, but I wouldn't make a spectacle about. And he was asked about that also, and this is what Nate Tibbitz said.
I didn't see that. I would guess so. I mean, AT's a competitive player. Just like their players talk to their fans, our players are going to do the same.
So apparently what Alyssa Thomas was saying, that she left to play for a real team. That's what she was saying to fans who were basically booing DeWanna Bonner. And, I get it. As someone's partner, you want to stand up for them and whatever, but I don't know, Alyssa Thomas's like attitude the entire time. She was very smug when she was winning, and every time something didn't go their way, she was very upset. And that's to be expected. But I will say, and this is probably one of the more petty videos I've ever made, because this situation in particular has gotten under my skin probably more than any other situation in the entire league and for the entire season, because the idea that you do leave a team like that, and especially in the situation that the team was in, does kind of like rub me the wrong way. I don't know. And I was asked we talked about this before the game in my live stream, and I had mentioned, of course she's going to get booed. It's just sports. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I would even do it, but it's like the most predictable thing ever. So I think that Kahleah Copper in the post-game media availability just kind of just like added a lot of fuel to this fire, where Kahleah Copper, in my opinion, made a lot of us women who actually do understand the way that sports works. It makes us kind of look like we don't know what we're doing, or we don't know what we're talking about, or we're really soft, when the truth of the matter is like, no, most people do understand that that's going to be the situation. That should be the situation, like walking into it, like you're anticipating that. And then it happens, and then we move. But there is a big lack of professionalism that is kind of embarrassing a little bit at times. It's a little embarrassing for people that are fans of the NBA. And Nate Tibbitz in particular, he did come from the NBA side. So I think he kind of has an idea of how this goes. And I'm actually really glad that he said that. I'm glad that he didn't make the entire organization look like, a bunch of soft, like, ninnies. But to be completely honest, like, I don't think that this is something that is going to stick around forever. I will say this is one of the more surprising things that have happened. I would never expect any other player to expect anything other than any sort of boos towards DeWanna Bonner at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Did I just say Fieldhouse? I meant Field House. Although everyone was kind of in their feels last night. And when the Indiana Fever do go to Phoenix, I'm sure there's going to be boos. I mean, again, to be expected. I'm not saying that DeWanna Bonner is a nasty person. I from what my experience of watching interviews and, dissecting her from afar, she does seem like a very sweet person. She does have a really nice smile and whatnot, but I think the effects of leaving a team in the lurches, has its implications. So I don't know, I guess like cry me a river.